Hello everyone, good evening. I'd like to create a short video here as I go over my analysis of Psalm 1 and 2 after viewing Dr. Simkovich's comments and her videos and our comments as a class. So first of all, um, it was exciting to learn a little bit about the play on words there with path and walk used in verses 1 and 6 of the first psalm there. I'm going to have trouble with these words. We have halak, which is meaning to walk, which is also related to the word halakha in Hebrew, which means the law or a path, which is similar enough to derek, which is another word meaning path or way. And I would have never known the similarity between those two if Dr. Simkovich hadn't pointed those out to all of us. So that was interesting to note and learn about the two different words, and I wonder why they're used. And maybe it's just like some people say soda and pop here in the United States. It's just used as you wish. So that's something to learn. Why would halak be used, and why would derek be used in certain circumstances? I also learned a few things from further analysis of Psalm 1 here. I did see that Psalm 1 there, verses 1 through 3 was about the righteous, and verses 4 and 5 was about the wicked. I missed that in verse 6 there's the combination of the righteous and wicked right there in the two lines of verse 6. So I missed that, but that was an obvious one once I came to see that. Nor did I see the pattern of literal imagery, metaphorical imagery, and literal imagery in verses 1, 2 of Psalm 1, that's the literal imagery, verses 3, 4 of Psalm 1, that's a metaphoric imagery, and then again getting to literal imagery in verses 5, 6 of Psalm 1. So that knowledge of looking at the literal and the metaphoric and then the literal imagery really helped me better understand Dr. Simkovich's conclusion there that Psalm 1 is both a figurative, meaning metaphorical, do the way of the wicked versus the way of the righteous versus the wicked, and also a literal path. So it's what you do, and that literal and metaphorical is truly embedded throughout there, and it actually is something that can be done, and then it's actually something that can be metaphorical in the idea that you have to make life's choices, and what do you do and what do you think about. I was also fascinated to learn a bit about rain and water, and the idea that the only way a tree could truly grow in ancient Israel is if God nourished the tree with rain, because the Jordan was such a small river and that couldn't have been a constant source of water, or maybe this tree would be far away from the Jordan, right? So we don't know, but we do know that the water is a source of covenantal relationship between God and the Israel people. So that's a big point there, and that reminds me of my Peace Corps days when I was a volunteer in Benin, which is in West Africa, and it was very dry, and we had to rely on God for rain for planting crops, and that was also a sign of our relationship, rain, water with God. So it's a very beautiful image, and I didn't know that. One last piece I'd like to add was, so verse 12, the last verse there of Psalm 2, that's one I struggled a little bit to understand with the translation. There's the kiss his feet, that's a translation used in the NRSV, and then I was the one who commented on with purity be armed, and the way where I got that was actually in Robert Alter's translation here, And that's how he translates verse 12 of Psalm 2. And his rationale is it might make sense as a counterpoint to the implied raising of arms against Zion at the beginning of the psalm that we see right there at the beginning, when the kings of the earth take their stand and princes conspire together against the Lord and against his anointed, that we see in the beginning. That's verse 2 of Psalm 2. So that's how Robert Alter translated this "kiss his feet" in this very complex phrase of figuring out how we end Psalm 2. So that's my comments for this week. It was a great week to begin to try to more deeply understand the use of different literary techniques and imagery and metaphors, and what that means for all of us trying to figure it out today in Psalms 1 and 2. All right, thanks everyone.